I would appreciate if you guys will go beach here. Beach. Incredibly, I'm not going to be talking about our paradise island. I'm not going to be talking about beautiful beaches or tourism. I'm going to be talking about the island of Cuba. It's beautiful, guys. It's better than Jamaican beaches. No, what else do we have here? Bahamas? Nothing on us. I want to portray a sense of pride and nationalism, which is us Cubans have very deep inside of us. We're very proud of who we are and where we come from. Even though our government is not the best, our economic standards right now are not the best. They were at some point in the Caribbean. We were one of the greatest colonies of Spain, which we're no longer. I'm going to discuss pre-Cuban history. Pre-Cuban history. Columbus obviously discovered Cuba and a lot of islands in the Caribbean. I'm not going to mention them. We got populated by the British at some point. And then we got traded for Florida at another point. So we're a trade for Florida for Cuba. And by then, we were another Spanish colony, which we have Batista, our first dictator, you can say, which was overthrown by the Cuban people. We held a rebellion, very, very bloody. I'm not going to get into the details either. I don't think it's important for this presentation, but it's part of our culture. Let's just say it's a very important rebellion in the Cuban history. And we overthrew Batista with the help of Fidel Castro. Our current dictator, we replaced a good one for a bad one, in my point of view. So Fidel Castro has been, I'm going to hand it off to Joey. Post-Castro.
We're gonna show a little bit of, we tried to include some of the military presence that we have in Cuba, and you're going to see a tank and a soldier who's actually falling asleep. And we're actually porting over to the U.S. because, like we talked about earlier, they put some ketchup bottles on our land, so
That's our embargo. No, embargo. This fence right here.
We want to go a little bit about how relationships got with the U.S. the way they were, just over the top. In 1958, Fidel said that he was going to wage war on the United States if he ever took power. And he said this because the United States was playing both sides. They were feeding Batista his guns, as at the same time they were actually helping Fidel to try to take power. Fidel found out, he wasn't very happy. He said as soon as he took power, he was going to wage war. He took power, as you mentioned, de facto, in 1959 because Batista just took off. A year and a half later, the United States supported a battle known as the Bay of Pigs, where Cuban exiles came back and tried to take over the land. They didn't go very well. A year later, the Cubans pointed nukes or weapons over to the United States in what was known as the Missile Crisis. This all led to the embargo. They were going back and forth. Cubans trying to join the Russians and the different Communist Party. Another very famous part of what's known about the Cuban culture and in America, in 1980, the Cubans opened up a port called the Mariel Port. And they allowed any member from the United States to go into Cuba and pick up their family members. But the catch-22 to this was, at the same time, not only were they picking up the family members, they had to pick up the guys that Fidel just had removed from office jails. So what came over to Miami and came over to the United States was half honest people and half GOP and half people that were prisoners. Half of them were for political reasons, the other half were for actual crimes. And now, as everybody's probably heard, February 19th, or yesterday, Fidel Castro officially said he had renounced power, but his brother and the same regime are actually still in power, and the United States government has said that they're not planning on changing any of its policies with them as for now. So that's just a little brief history. Now we want to go ahead and just walk you, the relation to the United States. Now we want to go ahead and just walk you through the island, so you see some of the stuff.
I want to start off by tobacco trees, in this case banana plantations. We're very famous for sugar. When communism took around, we embraced communism through the Soviet Union. We were very rich at that point. We didn't lack a lot of resources because we were fed through Russia. After the Soviet Union dropped and that collapsed, we were paralyzed as a country economically. our only natural resources, which is still stand as tobacco and sugar. That is what we do and what we do best overall. I placed some banana trees. Because the first thing I could find was the tobacco in the back of the island. I want you to take a look at the island overall so you can see I try to replicate Baradero, which is the most beautiful beach I've ever seen in my life. And I've been to a couple of beaches. No offense, I've been to the Bahamas. I've been to the second most beautiful beach I've been to is St. John's in the Virgin Islands. Very, very nice place. Baradero is our jewel when it comes to tourism. We have in this strip of land, and we have the biggest monopolies in European tourism there. It's just because we're embargo. We don't have any U.S. tourism. Cancun was originally made, the idea of Cancun, Mexico, was supposed to be built in Cuba. I've seen the actual plan myself. No, I'm serious. You're laughing and I'm dead serious. I went to Cancun. I was in Mexico. Playa del Carmen. And those plans, that you can tell that city was built by America from the ground up, and that was meant to be in Cuba due to the missile crisis. But it was difficult. It didn't work out that way. We Cubans believe in a lot of dancing. That's another cultural aspect. We love salsa. We like Latin music, especially we go back and forth and arguing with the Venezuelans who created salsa. I think I'll give it up to Venezuelans.
It was actually in New York bars, and then it went to the Latin countries.
I think it was made in. I mean, this is an argument. It's like who created the plan? You know?
I'll tell you something. We love it. Those we dancing for 2 hours already.
That was 2 hours.
We'll talk a little bit also about the cars.
Yeah, let me jump to that. It's, before, when I came to class today, I heard people questioning about, the cars. That they were nice and everything, and it's not really what it portrays to Cuba. It's our dream. It doesn't have to be an old Chevy 59, that we got to garage. Exactly. We dream of that. We can have the same life. Not in reality. When we have a Chevy 59, which is actually not really the most common car that we see in Cuba. Anyone have an idea which one is the most common one? Made for
Cadillac.
Russian. Okay. And Lada's a good car.
We had it.
So that is the reason why we put the nice car there. Even though the Volkswagen is a car that we have to keep the old version of it. Okay. You want to continue?
In this presentation, I want to portray also little aspects. We live in a Cuban community. This is Miami. Muslim Cubans. But some things you may not know if you don't live in the house. We're very clean people. If you notice, we have 2 bathrooms. And I'm sure you missed them. Just on the island. 2 showers on the beach. I mean, it's something you won't get. We love domino. It's our game. We party a lot, just like the Venezuelans. Very similar to the Venezuelans. Even if they're current dictator. I mean, feel free to take a look around the island, party, have a drink after a mega party that, must be exhausted and dehydrated.
You're going to see the hamaca. That's something that part of for all the home. We try to put out there everything that we represent that we feel like we're Cuban in a way. And I think the Batman car is not one that you can find in Cuba.
Very rare.
But you stop coming to water. We also want to talk a little bit about
I put up two airplanes, actually two flying objects. A helicopter, I want to portray the overall surveillance of the Cuban people. We don't see this on the island as much, but there is a lot of surveillance internally from the government. And I believe that they just put in place a university because all cash were funded in a university called UC.
For the gun?
Which they call it information technology. And I believe that most of the information development projects occur here as for surveillance. On the overall economy, the people, the overall state surveilling, because we were very behind when it comes to technology, not in theory, not in knowledge, but in practical technology, for business, business structure. Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to show last was the airplane here.